America has always been the most beautiful nation in the world because it was birthed by God's manifest destiny that we should make it so. The seeds of greatness are within America's people, and that's what makes us the most beautiful, the greatest nation in the world, God's exceptional nation. And yet, for whatever reason, for those silly enough to continue turning on their television like the proverbial rats in the Skinner box because they're conditioned, just like you're conditioned to click, 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 click on all the other videos which don't edify you or the great country that we are privileged to inherit as our own. The fake news media and their axis of evil in Silicon Valley is always trying to dump ugliness in our mind's eye, and I don't know why they're trying to do this. But silly Americans, for whatever reason, continue to turn on the television, and it's largely, maybe sometimes you turn on the television yourself. But you have to understand, as I'm fond of reminding America's man's men, that the thing about television and the fake news is that if they report something, if they talk about something, it's actually less likely to be true than if they had never said anything about it at all to begin with. Again, let me repeat that. If the fake news says something, it's actually less likely to be true than if they had never said anything about it in the first place. And the reason this is that even if it sounds true, even if it has a semblance of truth, like all cults, for instance, have seeds of truth in them, because if there weren't little pieces of truth in them, then no one would join them because they wouldn't be convincing enough. And that's like the fake news. See, the fake news has appropriated American society over the years. In other words, it's pretended to know what they're talking about, and it's pretended to have an expert culture, which they proudly display banners about on the lower third of the screen, kind of like the Pharisees. Oh, look at all that we know. Look at our experts and all they have to say. But at the end of the day, you have to remember that the fake news, their end game is to dump ugliness and fear in your mind's eye, because when America wins, the fake news loses. And when the fake news loses, America wins. So keep that TV off. Click with extreme discretion if you must click at all. Speaking of which, why not click over to americasmansman.com and put your email address in the top bar and hit subscribe. And that will make sure that we're connected when the Matrix, the axis of evil over in Silicon Valley, and the fake news media pulls the plug. America's man's man.